Hello there. Welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and tonight I have a double-page scrapbook layout. I'm going to share with you a color hack that I use often, as well as a couple other little twists and turns within the layout. Now, we're going to be using the Celebrate Together scrapbooking workshop kit that creates 6 pages if created like the company instructions. We're going to be using the ingredients in a little bit of a different way to create this layout. I'm going to be adding some of the holographic resin dots, and then I'll share with you what comes in the scrapbooking workshop kit here in just a bit. But there's also some additional coordinating stamps and dies. You've probably seen these used lots and lots around YouTube because people have been making all kinds of celebratory sips and pages with colorful drinks. There's also a glass and floral embossing folder that you can get that will coordinate with this set. Now, I didn't use the stamps and dies tonight. Oh, I did use one of the stamps. I take that back, but I did not use the embossing folders tonight on this particular layout. So we have some small floral patterns. We have some diagonal stripes in Pool Party and Daffodil Delight. We have a little bit of cloud cover pattern, and then there's some extra specialty paper in Fresh Freesia. So quite the combination of bright colors. There's also a fun cut apart sheet that comes in the workshop kit, some punch outs to make ephemera, and a sticker sheet. So you have quite a few title opportunities between the punch outs and the sticker sheet. You have some drink themed icons for creating those fun drinks, either summer drinks or those celebratory drinks that you can go out and have. And then there's also florals, lemons, and other icons included. There is some cardstock, two-tone coordinating cardstock that comes in the set. And then there's also a coordinating cardstock pack called Celebrate Together with added colors. Now, obviously, for this single page layout, I won't be adding all of these cardstocks. I'll be adding some Daffodil Delight, a little bit of cloud cover, and some Fresh Freesia to tonight's layout. But I will be adding these colors to my full scrapbooking workshop. Now, tonight I'm digging way back into the archives of my photos. I have photos that are about 10.5 years old that I have never scrapped, and I love them. These are of my granddaughter Avery Jean, my daughter and son-in-law Emily and Tyler, and they had these family photos taken when Avery Jean was 6 or 7 months old. But as you can see, look at the colors in those photos. They're adorable. I love them, but I'm not going to lie, they've been very difficult, and I've been waiting for the perfect colors to come along. And then, quite honestly, because so much time went by, I forgot about them. But I think that Celebrate Together is going to be perfect. However, I have some pool party frames here that I created by cutting 1 inch to 11 inches all the way around that pool party diagonal stripe. I created a couple white willow pieces here on the Cricut that have stitching around them, faux stitching. Now, don't despair if you don't have the Cricut, because you could literally go around the outside of a white willow piece that's 11 inches by 11 inches and create that faux stitching with a journal pen. Now, the hack that I'm going to show you is pulling in and kind of like a contrasting color that isn't even in the photos, but what will pop and make the other colors work and make the icons of the workshop work. So I have a little bit of cloud cover coordinating cardstock here, pool party coordinating cardstock here, and Daffodil Delight. Now, the colors within the photos are not quite cloud cover, they're not quite pool party, and the colors within the photos are even different shades. So you can see in the chair, they're really, really, really bright. And then in the scarf, it's about medium. And then in the necklace, it's more light. So by layering colors and bringing in a contrasting color that isn't even in those original photos, I think I can pull it off. And it's a hack that I often use to coordinate a workshop with photos that didn't originally coordinate. So the sizes here of the Daffodil Delight are 4.5 by 8 5/8, 3.5 by 9 3/4, two of them. And then the cloud cover is 4.25 by 8 3/8, and then 3.25 by 9.5, two of them. By layering those colors, that helps tie in the blues, and it helps give us a coordinating color of that Daffodil Delight so that we can use a lot of the bits that already come in the scrapbooking workshop kit and make that work. Now, I love the idea of creating banners off to the left-hand side. So I'm going to pull in the cloud cover and the Daffodil Delight colors here. So I've created a 3 by 3 diagonal Daffodil Delight stripe, and then I have dovetailed or notched the end of that. The cloud cover star pattern is 2 by 2.5, and I've dovetailed the end of that. And then I've made two of those. So I want to do two of those on the right and two of those on the left. Now I have already loaded my junk gypsy tray from all the bits that I've shown you earlier. I put all the titles together, all of the little bits together, the lemons together, the lemon colored drinks together, the other drinks together, the leaf flourishes together, and then the larger icons together. I've also cut apart all the pieces on the cut apart sheet because the cut apart sheet is white on the back. So I knew that I wouldn't be needing the back side. So I cut apart all of the cut apart sheets in this section here. So you can see I have some great journal spots, some extra patterns, and all kinds of pieces like that. So given the fact that we have a lot of yellow in that, and we're going to try to coordinate the blues, the fresh freesia, and the yellow, the Daffodil Delight, I first want to pick a title. So I think that some of these titles will work, but the one that I land on is fun because Avery Jean's face and her attitude is just plain fun. So I do know that I want something that contrasts underneath the fun. And originally I find this Secret C piece. So I think if I use Secret C under the left side, there's a couple other little cut apart pieces and circular pieces that I might be able to use over on the right. There's also this cut apart Daffodil Delight piece, but it sort of doesn't pop. It just kind of blends in together. I have another little cut apart piece in Fresh Freesia, so that might work. Or because I've added that pattern over on the right side, and I forgot to tell you, those are 3 by 3. So all the photos on the right are 3 by 3. The photos on the left are 4 by 4. And that specialty pattern that came in the scrapbooking workshop kit is 3 by 3, two of them. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the remaining that's left over in a 1/2 inch piece. And it's about a 1/2 inch by, I'm thinking that it starts out about 7, but I snip a little bit of that off. And then the final answer is about 5 inches. Now here's where we take a couple twists and turns. So you've probably seen this series of papers used for all kinds of celebration drink photos for fun, festive drinks, both alcohol and non-alcohol. But I am thinking, okay, this is a baby layout, but it's also vibrant. The colors lend themselves to spring and summer. I could see a baby shower where you're having strawberry lemonade or lemonade, or mimosas instead of mimosas, where you're having a little bit of a Shirley Temple. And I love the idea of coordinating that lemonade. So I think I can use a couple of those drink icons, even though it's a baby and a family layout, because it's just signifying fun, just some summery fun or a little bit of celebration fun. And so that's a little bit of a different twist for a baby layout. I'm going to add that lemonade, pull in some lemons, add those paper strips in there and the title on the top, and the drinks can just represent fun. And it doesn't have to be about out drinking with the friends or anything to do with the baby in the layout. So I'm going to add those two strips together, and then later on I do decide I need a little bit more greenery. So I'm probably going to pull in some greenery and maybe even another drink. There is a fresh freesia drink in there that has a little bit of greenery in there that I might be able to add just another pop of color on the bottom. I think I can add a couple lemon slices up at the top and maybe pull in some more of the blue to coordinate all the blues. Because we have a lot of different blue colors, we can get by with the fact that some of them don't match apples to apples. We're just using a multiple amount of blues so that all the blues end up coordinating. And you'll see when I get done, and I guess you can weigh in and tell me if you think I pulled it off or not. You can also bring in a different pattern. Now, I could have brought in like Summer Splash or one of the other blues here, but I really wanted to use what was in the workshop kit. So now I've pulled up that little tab there, and I'm thinking to myself after I put that up there that I probably could do a little stamping with the stamp set up there on that little tab. Now I've added the fresh freesia drink here, just one more way to tie in all of those lavender colors in Avery Jean's bow, in her necklace, in her little ankle bow, in Emily's scarf, in Tyler's shirt. There's a lot going on in those colors, and I think that Daffodil Delight is a great hack to bring in a pop of color that coordinates with icons in the scrapbooking workshop kit, but aren't necessarily in the photos at all. So you won't see one single stitch of Daffodil Delight in those photo colors, but I've totally made it work by adding that, and it helped me to tie in the lemons, or will help me to be able to tie in the lemons. So I like the idea of toggling these two photo strips over on the right, probably journaling over the top of the two fresh freesia florals. But I do have to pop up a little bit here on the left-hand side with the foam dimensionals to be able to make that balance. Now I'm going to add those two banners that I made originally. I definitely feel like we need fresh freesia in the banners somehow. Now, I originally used a little bit more of the fresh freesia small floral pattern, and I'm not loving that. I don't know why. It's just too much of a pattern. So I think I'll bring in some fresh freesia two-tone cardstock. And in the meantime, I get distracted thinking we need a little bit more greenery over to the left of the drinks here. And then I feel like with the greenery, the title, the paper strips, the lemons, and the other banners and icons, it doesn't just blatantly stand out drinks. So some of the other layouts that I'll be creating with this series, not necessarily with the scrapbooking workshop, but I'll be doing an online event using the Celebratory Sips Sweet Collection. I'll probably be doing a little bit more of the celebratory drinks in that one. I'll also be doing a ton of other things that will go with many, many, many other themes. But that will probably be full-on drinks where you do all the fun things with those. But there are so many things where you can have those little drink icons in, but not overwhelm the page and have it be all about the drinks. This is about happy. This is about fun. This is about summery colors. It's about Avery Jean. And so those two little drinks in the corner totally fit with a baby layout, and that is a little bit of the twists and turns. Now I've created a Word document, and I've sized it to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 because the photos are 3. Actually, I sized it to 3 by 3, but I just made sure that my My typing was about 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 on vellum. Printed that on vellum, put that over the top, and I love that the fresh freesia pattern just peeks through that vellum, and it's just peeking through the words. Now I decide to stamp "Let's Celebrate" on the little tab there, the pool party tab, but I don't trust myself to stamp around the photos, so I pulled off the photos. And then I got the stamp in place, and I just used Memento Black, Tuxedo Memento Black. So I'll put that photo back in place. Goodness, I cannot talk tonight. And then I did do a little doodling with a black journal pen around the 2 fresh freesia dovetailed pieces. Now, to get balance and to draw your eye across the journaling, which is very important, the journaling in the photos, we need something in the upper right. So I can see myself toggling the lemon over a little bit of greenery and maybe even adding another small lemon to tie in that yellow and that Daffodil Delight. And the pop of the Daffodil Delight is just lovely next to the pool party, the cloud cover, and the fresh freesia. And it's such an unexpected twist to add a color that coordinates, that pops, but isn't in your original photos. So try that hack sometime when you're struggling and there are elements in the scrapbooking workshop that you want to use, but they're not in your photos. Pull in another color as a photo mat, and then once you have that color in as a photo mat and maybe some added banners, you will be able to add the icons with no problem because they'll coordinate with pieces that you're using within the layout. So I'm going to lay the lemons there. I wanted to walk away a little while and just make sure that I'm happy with those. I want to add one more little lemon slice down to the bottom to coordinate. And then there's this little fresh freesia banner piece that I think I can use either on the upper right or the upper left. Again, just tying in all those colors. Now I'm thinking to myself, I could add background inking, I could rub with a blending brush, I could add a little splatter, I could add some background stamps, but I'm loving the cleanness and the simplicity of this. So I decide just to add those holographic resin dots and call it good. I can come back tomorrow and decide if I think I need some more inking or some more jazz, or if I think the layout is too plain, and definitely weigh in and let me know if you think I needed to add a little bit more. A lot of times I like to blend a little color in the background, so I could have blended maybe Pool Party, maybe Fresh Freesia, or maybe Daffodil Delight there around some of those icons and pieces, but I'm getting happy. Now, if you're a straight as an arrow scrapbooker, you know that you can straighten out those photos. There's plenty of room for those photos to go straight across the layout instead of at a diagonal, but I just thought it was playful and fun. I really hope you like the hack of adding the color pop to solve the problem of photos that have hard to work with colors in them or colors that don't coordinate. I also hope that you love the idea of using something with a different twist and using a theme-specific paper in a non-theme specific way. I hope you'll hit like, subscribe, the notifications bell, and come back soon for more right here on Snips by Kelly.